What's up? Welcome to today's stream. What's today? Today is August 23rd. And it's the second half of my day. Well, it's the second half of my work day. I split my days into 3 parts. So even though I'm saying second half of the day, is really the second half of my work day. And then there's the other half or other third of my day, which is other stuff. In any case, today's stream, or at least this stream in particular, is me working. It's the middle of the day. It's 3 o'clock for me. So I'm going to be working on some documentation. So if you're here, just hang out, chill out, listen to the music. If you have questions, sure, I'll answer them. But I may be a little quieter than I usually am, simply because I'm trying to get some stuff done. In any case, give me a moment as I get my screens in order to make sure I'm not sharing anything that shouldn't be shared, considering that this is work. All right, close that, we'll close this. All right, I think I'm good, maybe. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and jump into my screen share. And as you can see, I'm free for the rest of the day. Oh shit, there is shit here that I shouldn't be sharing. God damn it. I just said I was gonna make sure I'm not sharing anything, and here I am sharing stuff. All right, let me get some stuff ready. All right, so documentation. A while ago, we updated our SDK to this user model thing, and I'm going and updating our docs to make sure that we have a consistent structure. So let me show the structure that we're moving towards. Oh, excuse me. And then the structure that I currently have for the doc that I want to change. So we're going to read me right quick. Actually, no, we'll go to documentation. Meditation, OneSignal. Okay, so let's go to the web SDK, or I'm sorry, not the web SDK, the iOS quick start. All right, I think that's it right there. Yes. All right, so you'll see here that the structure is requirements, setup, recommended. That is the new way all these docs need to look. So you'll see Android is that, Unity SDK is not that, React Native SDK is not that. So basically, I need to go from Unity down. However, I am working against my own prioritized list, and this prioritized list is based on the things that I think are most important. So React Native is going to be my first one. And then if I have a time, I'm going to do Expo, Flutter, and we'll go as far as I can. All right, so what I'm going to go on and do is create a, no, I'm not going to do that. We're going to do this, and let's open up README this time. We'll log in. And where are my guides? Here we are. Okay, before I get into work, let me look at my notes. All right, so I do have my template here of how I want things to look. And I need to make sure that I have this on my list of things to do today. Let's open up Asana. Okay. Oh, I need to add to my to-do list to create a scheduled stream. create scheduled stream in StreamYard. All right, we'll go ahead and put that body there. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so let's go on to the React Native SDK. Let's make sure that's the same one. It is. All right. So I have this strategy that I use to update these docs, and it revolves around me making a copy. And the reason why I do that is so that I can get all of my changes in one go. So I can, you know, start building up a document that's hidden. And once it looks good to me, what I do is I literally come in here and then I go to raw mode and then I just copy and paste it over and then delete the copy and we're all good to go. So first step is to make a copy of this. And I see that we're still dealing with this bug. And also it's hot. Why is it so hot in here? I'll be right back. I need to go turn on my AC. It's stupidly hot. For some reason, my AC was set to 76 degrees. I've heard of Nest thermostats setting themselves to different temperatures, but I turned off the Wi-Fi on it. Also, I changed my Wi-Fi password, so like it shouldn't be connected to anything. So I wonder how did that happen? But yeah, it's goddamn 76, which is it's 76 over the, you can't see my apartment, but like it's a little farther away and it's in a dark spot and it's 76 over there. Where I am, it has to be at least 78, 80. Over there by my window, it's probably closer to 90. I think it's 100 degrees outside or something ridiculous. Oh, look at that. I guess I have a meeting at 8. God, okay, well, I have a meeting at 8:30, I guess. I just saw it pop up on my iPad. All right, let's get into this. So first things first is create this copy. And this is the bug. It still exists. This is annoying. When I click here, I expect to see the thing here, but it's not. And you'll see that it's just like, oh my gosh, it's terrible. It's up there. We'll duplicate. And then I'm going to make sure that I put don't publish. Do not publish. All right. And what I like to do when I'm doing these types of changes is to get the structure, right? So as we saw in my notes, let's move this desktop over to here and we'll move this down. I can get rid of that and this. All right, so as you see, it's requirement, setup, and recommended. So that's what I'm gonna do here. And these are all top level. So requirements, is that what it is? I've already forgotten, yeah. Requirements, and if I can spell, that would make my life a little bit easier. We're gonna do setup and recommended. Excuse me. All right, so we have our top level steps, and what I'm going to go and do is come here. It's basically the same requirements, right? So we need a OneSignal account, whatever this is, the OneSignal app ID available in settings. I'm just now realizing that I should probably bold this, or do I emphasize this? I think I emphasize this. I may need to go and look at our style guide, or maybe that there's a rule in our style guide for how to do this. All right, iOS 11, iPad OS 11 plus device. Oh, all right, to test on Xcode 14. All right, Mac with, okay. I'm gonna need to change that at some point. Let's create a new, we're gonna go to readme.com here. The reason why I'm doing this is so I can just copy and paste between the two. I don't wanna have to, if I can reduce the amount of work that I have to do, that's what I'm gonna do. So we'll come to here. Oh, look, I forgot to delete these, so I need to delete this. I'll do that later though. All right, so the first requirement is this, so we'll just copy this on over. All right, so we'll say a OneSignal account. Next, we need the app ID, which I'm going to bold and copy that on over now. Oops, don't do that. So we have the OneSignal app ID available in settings, key and IDs. All right. I'm sure that there's going to be, yeah. All right, so I think I'm going to need to do this as well. The iOS, like this line here. So to test on Xcode 14 simulator. Wow. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and put this on. I'm not going to worry about changing the content. This is what I was alluding to in previous streams, that the goal for now is just to organize the content. I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't like this, the way this is written, but I need to remind myself that we're not here to change that. We're only here to get the structure in place. All right, so because this is React Native, I also need to throw in the Android stuff as well. So we'll go ahead and move to that. And Android here. So this is what we need right there. And set up your Google Firebase keys. I think that's definitely needed. And let's go back to iOS. There should be one that's needed here as well. Yep, the P8 token. So I am going to change this a little bit. This is going to be like Apple devices. We'll move that to here. And then we'll have our Android devices. What? Why did that? All right, cool. So this one's a little bit weirder because it's a cross-platform tool. So I do need to specify, you know, one's for Apple, one's for Android, just to make it clear that, say for instance, you're not targeting Apple, then you know that you don't need to do any of these other things. All right, so I think I'm done with the requirements section. So we're good there. For the most part, the setup steps are the same. And I think that someone said, oh yeah, they've already changed it, never mind. So we're gonna do one at SDK, two. I actually don't know if there are capabilities for this, so let's go to what we have for now. We have Android. Oh, we need to also add Huawei, Amazon and Huawei requirements. So we'll say Amazon and Huawei. I'm not really sure why these are together, but again, that's not the goal of today. I'm going to keep saying this because it's literally me reminding myself. All right, so we'll plop those here. All right, run an example project. I will get to that another time. So we have add the SDK. Okay, that's what this is, the OneSignal package, okay. Step 2 is install for Android using Gradle. This is still the SDK. So what I think I need to do is we're gonna have a iOS or I'm sorry, Apple devices, Android devices, and I guess the other stuff. So let's do Apple devices. And then we'll do Android devices. Okay. What other steps do we need to have? Okay, so we have initialized the SDK. I want to make sure that that's the same step 2 as what we have for iOS, because these should more or less be the same, more or less. So it's add capabilities for here. Have add app groups, testing, notification service extension. All right, initialization. That's what we call it. That's what I was looking for. I was just trying to figure out what we called it. So we'll say 2 is initialization. Hopefully now you can understand why I create a copy. It's because like it becomes difficult or more difficult. And I'm wondering how much of this I should rewrite versus just point to the iOS SDK setup guide. So let's go back to our React native. And let's go to the preview as well. Let's see what that looks like. So this is all right. So this is all installing or making the things. All right. So a lot of this seems to be the same as for the iOS Quick Start guide. And one thing that I don't want to do is start to copy content from another Quick Start guide. And there's a reason for this. Because we're not using our own custom like documentation generator or whatever tool. If I copy content, that now means that I have duplicate content that I'm now going to have to maintain in 2 different places. As far as I know, there is no way that I can reference a portion of a document from another document and README in such a way that if I update that content, it updates everywhere else that it's used. So because of that, what I'm likely to do is to point people and say, this is how you do it for iOS. And then just point to this is how you do it for Android, right? So all of this is iOS specific. Like this app group, we already have this. So there's no reason for me to go back into this. So I'm just going to point to the corresponding section of the iOS doc. This is the only thing that's new, the initializing the OneSignal SDK. So let's go back to the previous tab. All right, so adding the one SDK. So we'll say for Apple devices, follow the iOS SDK setup, mobile quick start, the mobile quick start guide. We'll just call it the quick start guide for iOS setup. Okay, so to add the SDK, we're going to go back to that previous tab we were just on and come here. Adding the SDK, see? So what I can do is just copy this link here. So we'll copy it and we'll say follow the add SDK, step 1 add SDK in the iOS guide. Follow step 1. So I think I'm going to change this. Follow step 1. And then adding SDK in the iOS SDK setup quick start guide. All right, so this is going to be a link. Oh, add SDK. Step 1, add SDK. And we'll drop that link here. What the hell? All right, yep, that looks good. All right, so follow step 1 in the iOS quick start guide. All right, perfect. Android devices, we're gonna do the same thing. So I'm just gonna literally copy this, put it here, except now this is going to be Android. And because these are all consistent, I can literally just copy and paste it and just change the link. So we'll go back to here and make sure I get the right link. Yep. All right, we'll go back. So now I come to this and we'll update that. All right, perfect. So that's that. Okay. Let's go back to the previous tab, come back to iOS. So in reality, we need to do all of this. So we need to follow steps 1 through 6. So what I'm going to say is just follow the setup guide here. All right, so that's what's going to happen. I'm going to say follow the setup guide. Instead of saying step 1, so we'll just say follow these setup steps. Alright, let's come back to that previous doc, and I want to make sure I get that link, the correct link. Oh wait, this is also the wrong platform. I want this section here. We'll dump that here. Alright, and then this is going to be the setup steps. Or the iOS for and the iOS setup quick start guide. I think I'm just going to rename this so iOS setup steps, and then I can delete this. All right. You may be like, oh, why am I putting so much effort in this? Well, if I put effort into here, then I can just copy and paste it and put it into the next thing, right? So we'll move this down, like so, and then go back and make sure I copy the correct link, which is the setup. All right, we'll go back. Make sure that says Android, yes, and then this changes to Android. What in the world? What? Come on now. All right, so now we can delete that. All right, perfect. So step 2, initialization. All right, so it's going to be the same pattern, I think. So we'll say Apple devices. And this would just be follow the actually no, this is a lie. No, this is separate. This is JavaScript at this point. So now that's this section. Where is it at? That's this part right here. So again, I'm not changing content, even though I want to. I'm not. I'm just going to copy and paste it over and try the example method, but whatever. All right, cool. Let's add this code snippet. This is index dot. This is going to be ts. Index.ts. Oh wait. I guess React Native. I do. All right. If you're watching and you're a user of React Native, are you using TypeScript or are you using JavaScript? For what it's worth, I am a TypeScript only person, so I'm very much leaning towards that. But I kind of want to know, like, what are people using, right? Because it's one thing for me to say people use this. It's another thing for that to actually be accurate. All right, well, that happens. Let's go ahead and put this. I don't think we need a comment that says what it's doing. I have a strong opinion that comments should be useful. And like, if you're not adding any information in the comment, then it's no need to have that. So for this, yeah, all right, we'll just say initialize OneSignal, whatever. Actually, I said I'm not gonna touch content. I'm gonna keep that there. I was under the impression that we set the log level before we initialize, but maybe that's not true. But again, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to try not to, get into the weeds here. Okay, event listeners and components. We suggest using a base root component to add as an event listener. If you choose a subcomponent that is only shown in some situations, do I want to keep this? I'm going to keep it, even though I don't really see why I need to. I'm going to go ahead and keep it just to make my life a little bit easier. I'm going to go into regular markdown mode. Okay, so this was the piece right there. So we'll just take that, and I need to go into markdown mode here as well. All right, and it looks like, excuse me, this is it right here. All right, so some of the stuff is going away, I think. So I've already done the requirements. I think I've done the requirements, did I? Requirements, yeah, I've already done the requirements. So then I can delete these. I'm not really sure what this comment is here yet. So I'm going to leave it for now. Except to add the package. All right, yeah. Okay, let's save this and see what we're looking like. I'm only worried about the top part, the part that I played with. So we have our requirements. I kind of want to put another, like a subheader here for Apple devices. And what I think I'm going to do is have it the same as here. So I don't want it to show up in my table of contents, but I do want to be able to link to it. So in order to do that, I can do it in H3, and that will give me the same thing. All right, so the only two things that have been done is adding the SDK and then initialization. This stuff right here is Android specific and iOS specific. That's why I'm pointing to the previous doc. So honestly, I think I can get rid of all of this. Yeah, I can get rid of all of that actually. So let me get rid of all of that. Okay, install the SDK. All right, so this part I do want to have. So this is where we get into the React Native specific stuff. So we'll come back up into, it's starting to lag now, my gosh. All right, so we'll put that there. All right, so we'll just say, add the package to your project. React Native OneSignal package to your project. So we have yarn or npm. Npm is spelled npm like that. All right, and then 2.2 link OneSignal. Use a React Native, whatever, or something. All right, React Native. All right, cool. All right, so we have the install the package. So I think I can delete all of this, like literally all, even everything from 4, definitely, and that, all of this. So I think I can delete almost all of this. Step 6, run your app in seniors. Okay, so I'm going to keep that around. I'm making sure that none of this is needed. All right, so I want to keep that, this manually updating, because I don't really know if I've done that yet. Event listeners, I think I need to keep that. Initialize the OneSignal. Okay, I probably should keep that for now. And then the rest of this I can throw away. All right, so we're gonna install all of that. Yeah, cool. All right, so we'll save that, and I'm going to look at it just to make sure that I've deleted all the things that I no longer need. Hopefully now you can understand why I create a copy of the document. It's because when I'm making these sweeping changes, you know, it can make life hard if I'm doing it in the document that needs to be published. Here I can be bold in what I'm doing and not worry about jacking stuff up. All right, for this, I'm going to go on ahead and copy basically all of this stuff here. Just to add it, just so it can be in my TLC. Wait, what just happened? Come on, why does it move my scroll? My gosh, I really hate this tool. It's hard for me not to yeah, it's hard for me not to talk down on this tool. Like, I don't understand why it changes my scroll position. Identify users. This needs to be capital, so we'll change that to capital, save it. And I know that I need to do the same thing in Android because I just copied it. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, well, never mind. I'll be damned. So we'll come back to here, and we have set email and phone numbers. And this should also be capital. Title case is technically the name for this. So we have permission and soft prompting, identify users, set email, whatever that is. So we'll just paste that there. And then we'll add data tags. And I need to make sure that the Android follows the same convention of being title case for all of the things that are going to be in my top level, and it is. So it looks like I did it at one point, and look, I see a difference. This should be ampersand, like that. See, ampersand, so they are consistent. All right, so let's go back to here. Let's see. All right, so whoa. Wait a minute, what just happened? What just happened here? Requirements set up. Okay, recommended. Ah, I see what happened. Okay, so these requirements need to go away. These are all done, I think. I thought I deleted this already. What the hell? Why am I... Oh, wait, no, yeah, I thought I deleted this. Did I do it in the wrong thing? Let me check. No, I didn't. Okay, all right, perfect. I haven't changed anything there. All right, this is confusing now. It seems like my work wasn't saved. Initialization. Yeah, it's almost like my work wasn't saved. This isn't fun. All right, we'll delete all this again. Okay, here we are. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know what's going on anymore. So this should be here. Recommended, and then all of this is down. All right, so let me just throw like one of these in here just to put like a marker, a demarcation between what I'm working on and what like is done. So the data tags, I think that's wrong. The set phone number, I think all that's wrong too. Yeah, that's all wrong. And oh wait, no. Yeah, that's wrong. I think it's called add now. Let me go ahead and fix this since I'm about to copy it. All right, so it's recommended. Okay, frozen easy. All right, I'm just going to drop this here so that there's content. Identify users, we'll put that in there. All right, and we'll throw in a text or whatever, or code block or whatever this is called. This is just going to be JavaScript. And I don't know if this is implemented yet, so I'm just going to say to do get implementation details. All right, and then for our set email, I should be able to use all of this. These are proper nouns, like so. I said I wasn't going to change it, but yeah, I'm not going to change it. I'm going to keep it as is. Okay, maybe I'm not going to keep it as is. Maybe I can't, so I'll just do this and keep it as what it was. That way, like, it's consistent whenever I do go back and change these. Like, one of the things that makes life hard is when you have different things like done differently in different places. It makes life very difficult, for me at least. All right, so we'll take this, throw that under our recommended. Okay, now we have to do a code snippet of JavaScript. And then I'm just going to take the same thing right here. Actually, I think I can just do this. I should be able to just copy all this verbatim, actually, now that I think about it. So we'll do that. The reason why I think I should be able to do that is because the JavaScript SDK is camel case. And this OneSignal, it could be anything. It's however you import it, really. So yeah, I think it's a default import. I don't know if it's object, like a destructured import. But we shall see. That's something that we can figure out a little bit later. Now let's get in the data tags section. And we'll throw in a code snippet that is JavaScript. And I should be able to just copy this verbatim as well. I think JavaScript, even though it has ASI, I'm going to include the semicolons, even though in general I hate semicolons. Also, it's for consistency reasons. We have semicolons up here. So in your app.js or index, okay, so because we're specifying a name like that, I'm just going to call this JavaScript. For now. What I'm going to do shortly is I'm going to create a React Native project, and I want to figure out that path, or maybe I can just go to their docs and read it from there. We'll see. All right, run your app, make sure it builds correctly. I don't understand why this is a call out. This doesn't make sense to me. I do need this step here. This link, OneSignal, whatever that is. So what I'm going to do is just copy these 3 things and I'll wordsmith it. I think this goes inside of, oh, I already have it. Look at that. Okay, so then add the, all right, and then we're going to link OneSignal or RN version. I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna put it like this. And this is for RN React Native version. Native version. I don't know what that is. Like, what is that? Slash less? That's weird. So we'll do that. Okay. And then we can say skip if using React Native version of 6 or greater. Oh, I see what's happening here. Okay. So we'll say link OneSignal for React Native. If using version, whatever that is. All right, so we'll put a space here and then we'll delete that. Otherwise, skip if using React Native. I guess a later. Skip if using a later version of React Native. Okay, I think that says the same thing. As auto linking is now done automatically. So we'll just take this thing right here. I think I need a capital. Yeah, I do. All right. And then this is going to be the piece that goes to that. Yo, what's up? G. All right, I'm going to be real. It's very hard for me to pronounce Twitch handle names. So I'm going to just say I appreciate the follow. And if you are also on that YouTube gang, please give me a subscription. It helps there. That's actually where I'm trying to grow. Unfortunately, Twitch doesn't do anything for their creators. So I am not really prioritizing Twitch. Although I am streaming to Twitch. I do appreciate the follow, like real talk. The follow does help. I'm still trying to get to my goal of 256 just so I can move the goalpost again. So it's like when I get to 256, we'll go to 512, then 1024, 2048, 4096, so on and so forth. All right, so let me go ahead and save this and see what that looks like for now. All right, okay, this is starting to look good, except for, I wonder if I should just copy this stuff here, this solve. Yeah, I'm gonna copy all of this here, like this crap here. It's recommended to apps. Oh, this is the same text. So the only thing that I really need to change here or do here is move this image. CR push opt-in prompt guide for details on implementing this. I'm gonna do this because I think this is a better name. How to prompt for push notifications and then in that message. All right, so I'm gonna copy that, or cut it. Technically, is the right word. We're gonna throw this in the soft prompting section here, and we'll delete that. Now we have a difference in content, which I don't care. You don't have to deal with it. All right, now I can delete this soft prompting thing. We don't need any of this stuff. Data tags. I don't need any of this either. All this is old. This is all also incorrect now. So we'll delete all of this. Set custom user properties. I don't even know what this is. Wait. Did that not, what the fuck? It didn't even delete it. No, okay, so I think that may have happened last time and I thought I deleted it, because typically when you press the backspace on a computer on content that's selected, it tends to delete it, except when you use a README. Then it just doesn't do anything. Such an awesome tool. All right, let's save this and actually see if it did anything. Initialize the OneSignal SDK. I thought I already had that up here. Initialize. Yeah, I did. Okay, so I'm also going to remove this initialize. Like all of this step 2. We don't need step 2 or step 3. I deleted this already and I'm doing it again. Sure. Okay, fine. You win. What I'm going to do now is move this to, wow. I've never used a website that doesn't allow me to scroll. Oh, now it does. Okay. All right. Look at that. It heard me talking shit and it's like, okay, well, I'll cooperate with you for once in your life. Look at this. All right. So I'm glad I'm streaming this. So man, I hope one day like people at work see this, like the stuff that I go through and why I don't like this tool. How come when I try to delete, it goes away? I can't delete the thing. So it's almost like, what's the point of having this UI? And I hate these auto hiding UIs right here. Like it'll, oh my, okay, fuck it, fine. This is why I don't like this tool. And they claim to support Markdown, but that's a lie, it's false. Because as someone who actually does know Markdown, I've given it proper Markdown and it's like it doesn't know what to do with it. It's like, oh, I don't support this. It's just like, this is Markdown, buddy. Yeah, I promise it is. GitHub can render it just fine. So can Visual Studio. All right. So we have, so testing is going to get moved up, even though this is technically not even a thing anymore. I'm still going to move it up for now, just to get the thing looking good. Yo, what's up, Amajen Longton? You're new to the channel. Can you explain what you're doing? Yeah, sure. I am working on docs. So we have a new version of our SDK, version 5. Like they're now all unified across all of our mobile SDKs or all of our mobile platforms. Mobile platforms is iOS, Android, and then all the derivatives like the cross-platform stuff like React Native, Expo, Flutter, Xamarin, or I'm sorry, not Xamarin. I actually need to remove that. The new .NET MAUI, as well as our web stuff. And what I'm doing now is I'm reorganizing the structure of our docs. So let me go to what I want the new world to look like. So if we go to our mobile quick start guide and we go to iOS, you'll see here that it's requirements, setup, and then the steps to set up, as well as recommended things, right? We do Android, you'll see it's the same thing. Requirements, setup, and then the steps, and then the recommended things. Now, if we go to Unity, which is something I haven't done, you'll see that it's completely different. It's just like step 1, requirements. That's not even a step. Hopefully you and I agree here that requirements is not a step. Requirements are just requirements, right? And then there's step 2. So I'm going and making all of the rest of our docs conform to my new template. So that's what's happening here. Now with the React Native doc, because it is a cross-platform application, I'm having to put a little bit more effort into this because React Native is cross-platform, right? So you can target iOS and Android, but we also support Amazon and Huawei devices. So as a part of this reorganization, I have to keep in mind that we're really working with like 2/3 different platforms, and like the same type of breakdown doesn't apply because it's cross-platform. So that's what I'm doing. I'm like doing a little bit of reorganization, but I'm also being forced to modify our content, which, to be honest, is something that I didn't want to do. I like to split, content refinements from content organization. I have the belief, I mean, you can disagree with me, but my belief is based on doing this for a while, is that if you are making changes to both content and structure, you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's much better to get your structure down and then go and then refine your content. And if there's a need to refine your structure even more based on that content, it's much easier to do that. So it's just separating the two. Hopefully that answers your question. So what I may do is do this right here. I may add a section instead of having a header, but no, that would be a refinement, right? So like after I've done most of the hard work, I guess, then I can come in and refine and say, all right, well, how do I want this to be presented? And but that's going to be after I address content, which is not now. But as you can see, I'm getting close. So this is what the React Native SDK originally looked like, if I can speak for once in my life. And this is where it's at right now. So still a ways to go, but in my opinion, it's much better organized. So if someone who's new, they can just come look at this TLC and they can get a general idea of, all right, this is what I need to do, right? Or my favorite thing is when people ask questions, I like to give them links. And as a part of this organization, this makes it where I can easily take this link here, this anchor tag, and then just share it. Oh, yo, what's up, Chris? How you doing? You're here. Yeah. It's I don't know. Some of these points they've come from having done this for a little while. Just a little bit of backstory, a little history. I used to be an open source maintainer for a relatively popular desktop application. And one of the things that I've learned is effective communication can make or break you, right? So it's not enough to just to say something. You also want to provide links to things, and you also want to use words that are Googleable. I just made that word up, but like words that you can search. So I'm also a big fan of making sure that there is consistent terminology, across the product, across the API, across our SDK. And I differentiate the difference between an API, like a web API, and an SDK. So stuff like making sure that the function names are the same, making sure that parameter names or arguments to functions are the same. If there are what do you call those? Like code docs, the things that appear in like IntelliSense and certain IDEs, making sure that the words that we use in those docs are the same across all of our in-code documentation, and making sure that those words match what you see in the product. Because while if you're working at a company, you may be able to refer to things as 4 or 5 different things, it's hard to communicate to others who don't work for you or who don't work for your company that this, like, say for instance, can I think of an example? Let's say for instance we refer to things as a push or a notification or a push notification or like a message, right? Technically, you can think of all of these things as the same thing, but by referring to it as those 4 different words, you're diluting like the product at that point, because now somebody in the product, they may see push, and then when they go to their docs and they're looking for push and they don't see push, it only just creates this disconnect. I think there was no construction, no structure, and only content. Well, to be fair, to structure content is difficult, and I'm about to zoom out a little bit, bro. Like I like to apply like life, just regular life, because in my opinion, tech is not special. When you think about life and how things operate, there's typically chaos, right? That's really like when you think of opportunity or just your life as a younger person, it's just chaos, and over time you're adding order, you're adding structure to your life. It's the same here, where it's very difficult to add order and structure to your life. but it's worth it. And it's the same here, right? It's like you have all this content. It's like it can feel like it's just like it can feel like it's just too much. It could be overwhelming. But if it's overwhelming to you, imagine how that feels to the person who's just trying to like get their job done using your product, right? So this is where I always jump into, because like I have very strong opinions, and you'll get to know this. You'll get to know I have very strong opinions, and because of that, like, you know, when I'm using software, I get frustrated and angry, because it's just like you can almost tell that either the developers or the product owners, they're not thinking about the end user, even though they may say that. But it's just like, if you think about the end user, you will put a lot of effort into try to making these things understandable. Now, I don't want to lead you all to believe that, no, I'm there right now. This is not there. I'm just now starting this, but this is the process. We're beginning to iterate towards my vision of what this can be, which at the very minimum, it needs to be simple, right? And then once we get the basics done, then we can start to add like all of the fluff, you know, like, I don't know, if you go to certain documentation websites, you'll understand what I mean. Like when you can have the different languages, and like you select one language at the top and it selects all of that for the languages at the bottom, you know, as you scroll down, they're all the same. I don't know. I'm bad. Leadership kept changing goals. Well, so yeah, you deal with that too. Yeah. To be fair, I think that happens everywhere. And if you are strong-headed, I don't want, like, if you're a knucklehead like me, like, you'll say, okay, I understand that you have, you know, what you think you want or what you want, but I think it's also our job to push back, right? Where it's like, you know, it's like who do you work for? And certain people, I know it's hard for some people to think this way, but it's like, sure, I work for OneSignal, but in reality, no, I don't. I work for our developer users, right? Like, that's my job, is to make their lives easier. It's not necessarily to just tick a box at work. Fortunately, I think we're all on the same page at OneSignal, or at least they give me my space to do me. But your mileage may vary, right? Like, I don't recommend everybody be like me. I let's just say I'm in a different position where I think I can do that, right? So it's just like, if I can have my way, then this will eventually be a great experience for our developer users. And if we can get them to start advocating for our product, that makes my job easier, because I'm not a very social person. I can be social, but I like being I like being here where I am. So it's like, if I can make this stuff easy so that other people can effectively do my job, then that's a win to me. Of course, that takes time, and I have competing priorities at work. Documentation is just one of the things that, I will, if I get the time, I do try to focus on that. But I also have code samples that I have to do. I also have to support people within our company, and I also use our product and give feedback, not just from a developer perspective, but just from a straight up user perspective. A little bit of disclosure, like I was doing my own thing for a little while, so like I do have the mindset of like, I need to get shit done, and the tool needs to support that. So I can kind of flip back and forth between I'm a developer today, or I'm just a straight up user who I don't really care about all this other stuff. I just need to get this message to these people, right? I think it's good to switch back and forth. But yeah, let's see here. I got to put this on the chat, or I'm sorry, on the screen. It's a little longer for me. All right, I had to verify 100 APIs to make sure they're compatible with our product. It was mind blowing to see how many bad docs are out there. Well, yeah, but like we got to be fair, right? Like, I imagine when you first got into this industry, in tech, you probably, like a lot of people, you go in like all green-eyed, and you're like, you think that because of these tools, they change your life in a fundamental way. And, you hear people talk so great about these tools, but then you go and you see how these tools are built. And it's often, how can I explain it? So when I first got into this industry, I think in 2006, 2006. And we have the saying, you get to see how the sausage is made. Like, I was amazed that things worked. Where it's just like you get in, it's like, for me at least, I was coming from computer science, so I learned all this theory, and I'm just like in theory land, and this is perfection, and then I go out into the real world, and I'm just like, wait, what? It's almost like everything is held together with duct tape and glue. And I've been at enough companies. I used to work as a consultant, so I should also make that clear. So when I was in my consulting days, I mostly worked with Fortune 200 companies. And I also did a stint in energy. So I got to see, like, just because these industries are rich, I like to say they're rich industries, doesn't mean that the software is what you think it is. I also did other work. I can't talk about that, but like, let's just say I'm American and I used to work for my country. So like, yeah, when I started to see how some of our systems are built and some of the technologies we were using, I was amazed. I'm amazed. Like, when you fly on an airplane, you should just be amazed that like you're able to first just buy a ticket. Like, when you look at some of these systems that allow you to purchase airline tickets, I can't even fathom, like, if we had to start over from scratch. It's so much like legacy work that's been done that we just take for granted. And it's not just that, like, just being able to take off from the airport, the tools that the FAA uses. Like, it's amazing that all this stuff works, and it works well, right? So I don't know where that rant's going, or that ramble's going, but I don't know, maybe take it where you want to take it, I suppose. But yeah, how you doing? Are you doing all right? Taking it easy, I hope. And I guess I'll also share to the person who asked. I created a separate doc, and this is something that I do for README because it's README. I can't create branches, unfortunately. That's how I like to work. I'm very much in my engineering mindset, but for this, because I don't get that opportunity, what I do is I duplicate the doc, and then it makes it easier for me to make bold changes without worrying about screwing stuff up. Because worst case is I just start over from scratch and the original document is there. I thought I said I was going to move one of these steps. Oh yeah, here we are. So step 6 is run your tests. And all right, so this is testing. I have a step here called testing, I think. Yep, testing. So we're gonna come to here, and we're just gonna put a step in here called testing. For now, it's gonna be 3 because I don't know what the other steps are supposed to be right now. I'll make those up. Oops, wait. Sorry. Okay, testing. All right, and let's see if this matches. So run your app on a physical. All right, look, that's the same. So wait a minute. iOS devices should be prompted. Okay, this is how that your Android device. Okay, so I'm gonna just straight up copy this for now, and I think what I'm gonna have to do is a merge, because remember, this is cross-platform, so I have to think about all of the platforms. I can't just be like, oh yeah, on Android and then on iOS. So as a result, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of soul searching to get this right. So we'll go ahead and delete that and move it up to here. Wait, why do we have two? Wait, why do I have 2 different testings? Man, this tool, man, my gosh. I don't even know what to say. So that does say go to audience, and that's correct. So does this say go to audience? Run your app. If you use the provided code, OneSignal push opt, it should prompt you. You can change this later. I'm just going to copy that because I'm not sure if I saw that. I'm curious, Chris, did you, when you were working on docs, or I'm assuming you worked on docs, at least I hope you worked on docs. What tool did you use? Like, I'm looking for an alternative to README. I'm okay with like initially, like I wanted to build my own like documentation tool, but like, you know, that's, I don't know. I'm sure you all understand this as a developer, right? Sometimes you're in a position where you have a problem that needs to be solved, and you may not have a tool that's well suited to solve that particular problem. And you could invest time and energy to build this tool to then go and solve your problem. But by doing that, you're not solving your problem. So sometimes you get into these situations where you're like, I want to do this thing over here, this X, but if I do this X, then I'm necessarily not doing the thing that matters. So I'm very aware that I can sometimes fall into that engineer trap because I am a former, like I used to be an engineer. So I'm curious, have you come across any good tools for documentation? Oh, GitHub, yeah, that's where I live, by the way. I live on GitHub, like, for reasons I'm sure you're aware. You said like GitHub is how I work and how I prefer to work. And I did want to build a documentation tool that's based around a GitHub workflow, like the GitHub flow. But, you know, then that means that someone has to maintain it, and that'll probably have to be me. And then it's just like I have all these other things that I have to do that, let's be real, me maintaining a whole like a whole process for docs is so far out, like outside of the value chain that I'm expected to provide to our users. So while I would like to do that, I kind of want to I want to buy an off-the-shelf tool if possible, or an open source tool, right? Like even if I had to host it or whatever, that's fine, I suppose. Some of the tools that I looked at, just so that you're aware, I know that you did everything in GitHub, but some of the tools that I was looking at was Docusaurus, I think is how you spell it or say it. I want to say Next has I think that they have like their MDX thing. Let's see, Next, MDX docs. Next, documentation project. I can't spell today. What's up with me? Nextra, here we are. Yeah, this thing. So I did consider using something like this, which is, here, we'll go to the demo just so you can see how it is like. So this is the thing that, like the front end to Next.js's docs. And like I would like to use something like this, and my reasoning behind this is that when you have documentation, and let's say for instance like different docs, you know, they have similar steps, right? Or they may have the same exact steps. Doesn't it make a lot more sense to just have like a component or a snippet of code that you can reference? That way, whenever you need to update that particular thing, it gets updated everywhere. Right now, I have a big problem where if I change something in one place, I had to change it in N places. And I'm using N because I don't know what N is. Like I literally don't know. I had to go and search and find all of the places that it's potentially used. And because I had to go and search to find where it's used, I don't do it. So there could be areas in our docs that, you know, are inconsistent simply because it's so hard, it's so difficult to keep them in sync because it's a manual process. I get no support with the tooling to do this. So it really boils down to me going and like reading, which I don't have that kind of, like, I don't have the personality, the mindset, the mentality, the patience, or whatever adjective you want to use. I don't have it. You could use Vercel as an example. Well, yeah. So like, I like Vercel. I like their docs. I like Super Basic docs too. So there are a few, like for instance, the people who I think do docs really well-ish, even though like I will admit, if you really read some of Prisma's docs, they're wrong. but like I kind of like how their docs are, right? Where you come here, you get a search, and then it's broken down into the primary things that you're most likely to need to do, right? So you have your ORM, but you also have the platform, which is that whole ecosystem, which is I think they're like their hosted solution and all of that crap. And then within the ORM, they give you like, you know, like the way that you can build a mental map of how all this stuff fits together. as well as how you can accomplish certain things, how you can get it deployed, as well as going into like the different databases, right? Although I'm noticing that they don't have Supabase here, which is interesting because PlanetScale is technically not a database. This is I don't know if you know this, the story behind this. This is a bunch of GitHub folks. They went out and created PlanetScale, which is like MySQL hosting. So this is technically a hosted service. All of these other things are actual databases. So this is the one that stands out as not being a database. But because they have this, my expectation is that Supabase would be here as well, because that's also a hosted solution, right? I don't know if you when you read stuff like this, does your mind jump out to be like, one of these are not the same? That's the first thing I just noticed just looking at this right now. Like, this is definitely not a database. Anyway, all right. So who else does good docs? Supabase has pretty decent docs, although they were incomplete last time I checked. Let's see, but maybe they've fixed it, or you know, they're improving like daily. So I'm sure that a lot of this is fixed. But I was doing some things that, you know, they were still working on. I was very much bleeding edge, so like I was running into all the things. But maybe, you know, these things are now fixed. I don't know. But anyway, I like their docs, just how they're laid out, right? So you come here, you get a high level idea of all of the capabilities that you have. Oh, look, they added the vector support now. So the vector, PG vector or PG, well, I forget the name of the extension, but it's a vector extension. So you can put embeddings. So if you're doing like machine learning workflows or AI workflows, you can put your embeddings, the vectors that get generated from that process. You can dump it into your database. And because it's the extension, what you could do is you can do similarity filters. So I think it uses cosine similarity, and I think they only use cosine similarity. Actually, let me see. I actually don't know. Hopefully they'll say it. Cosine. Nope. Is there even the word cosine anywhere in this site? Cosine. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So here we are. So yeah, they are using cosine distance. They're using Euclidean distance as well. Oh, this is new. So, all right. I've never used negative inner product. That's actually, I need to look into that. I don't know what negative inner product is. I only know what Euclidean and cosine distances are. But yeah, so this extension is pretty dope because it allows you to do your typical queries across vectors, which is pretty dope, I think. By the way, if you know, if you're bored and you're looking for some shit to do, and you want to, I don't know, if you're interested in working on some random shit, we can do some random shit, you know. One of the things that I'm working on, and maybe you saw the stream or maybe not, I have this thing where I have my own Slack channel, and I'm trying to make it easier for me to do this YouTube content stuff. I have a lot of other things going on. I'm going to be real. I'm not using it as an excuse, but I have a lot of other things going on. And if I can make doing this YouTube stuff easier, aka automate a lot of it away, then it makes it much more likely that I'm going to remain consistent and continue to grow. So one of the ideas that I have is to like integrate my Slack account such that I can have my video descriptions automatically generated, have subtitles automatically generated, have timestamps for the table of contents for a video automatically generated, as well as have my like my notes. You can call them show notes or you can call them whatever. Oh, you're doing a dissertation? Oh, wait, hold on. All right, now we gotta talk. What are you, when you say dissertation, I'm imagining this is are you a master's student? Because I'm assuming you're a master's student. I didn't finish mine. I haven't dropped out yet, but I haven't enrolled in 3 years. But yeah, I was in grad school for a while. So are you doing a master's or are you doing no, if you're doing a dissertation, that sounds like a PhD. Are you like doing your defense? Is that what you're doing? Actually, I'm sorry. You said that you're doing your dissertation while you listen. I'm sorry. I don't want to distract you from that. Like, you should do that. And like, congratulations for making it this far. I do understand how much dedication it takes to like just to even arrive to this point, right? And I'm, like, I don't know what your nose is too, but like if you're at a PhD, like a bachelor's, you have a dissertation. Oh, you must be trying to go to master's then. Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, I didn't do my thesis for grad school because, you know, I decided that I didn't need grad school. And this was after I was there, and I was just like, you know what, like all these people are trying to get into a position that I've already exceeded, and I'm just like, I don't need to be here. And the saying that I used to say is like, I'm not going to pay myself more if I get this degree. And you know, the people who I work with, like, they don't give a shit if I have a degree or not. And I'm not talking about work. I'm not talking about corporate land. I'm talking about outside of work, you know, out in real life. But yeah, congratulations for making it to your final year in your undergrad. And given that you are doing the dissertation, this will set you up well if you choose to pursue a master's degree in the future, or if you choose to pursue a PhD. Yeah, experience is way more important. There's this thing called tacit knowledge, which is the knowledge that you build or that you obtain by doing. And oftentimes it doesn't really match like a line one-to-one with like theoretical things that you'll learn. So it's important to do both, which is you know, if you're in school, I mean, obviously you're a little bit farther along, but like if you're coming back and you're watching this and you're like a freshman or a sophomore, one of the things that I encourage you to do is to build things, right? And if you don't have any ideas, that's okay. There's open source. You know, there's so many projects. In fact, there's Project Desktop, GitHub Desktop. Go contribute to that. It's a very welcoming community. There are even issues that are marked as a good first issue. So if you are someone who wants to see, you know, like what it's like to like contribute to a project, and I don't mean just as an open source contributor, but just like contribute as a individual contributor, finding well-run open source projects can really differentiate you from the pack. One of the things that that was very illuminating is how many people in college don't really know how to work on a team, or don't really understand that what you do in college is not really applicable to what you're going to do in the real world. But that being said, I'm not saying that that's always the case. I'm talking about for people who are interested in working at like the elite tech companies. So like, and I will say that like I'm someone who's worked for like consulting, government, elite tech, myself, as well as like other things. To be honest, like you're gonna find brilliant people in any of them, like across all of them. Yeah, definitely look into it. And hell, like, you come here, you know, like play around with some of these technologies, and like, even if you don't build something, just try to get it to work. Just try to get something working, and then try to explain it to someone else. Go right? Like, if you can explain something like this to someone else, man, you have no idea how much that separates you from everyone else. Because that's another thing that a lot of people lack, is the ability to communicate technical concepts to people who may not be as technical. And I guess that's where I'm going to toot my own horn. I think that's where I don't know if I excel at it, but I think I'm pretty decent at that. Where like, there are some very complicated things that I can, you know, present to you, and it's just like, I can make it understandable. But I also had a lot of practice. I used to teach, just FYI. I used to teach at University of Texas, the great state of Texas. You had an internship at digital marketing agency. It was completely different than being in uni. Yeah, it is. It's it's good that you had that experience, actually. Like, having internship experience, it means that when you graduate and you go into a company, like, now you're not just like green, for real green. Like, you have a little bit of experience that you can kind of lean on. You kind of know that things aren't going to be by the book. It's just going to be like, you have an idea of how things are going to be. But yeah, just FYI, I'm trying to stream a little bit more often. So, if you enjoy this kind of stuff, like, I don't have a schedule, I will admit, I don't have a schedule, but you can find these on VODs. If you're ever watching any of these, like any of the VODs, and you have a question, don't hesitate to add a comment with a question. If I leave you with nothing else, just get out of the habit of not asking questions. And I'm not saying to me, I'm just talking about in general. Like, if you don't know something, say it, ask the question. Guarantee you 80% of the people next to you also don't know, and they probably had that same question. I think that's kind of what set me apart, is that I'm not really afraid to ask questions. Like, and I've also been the kind of person where, like, I'll know other people who they'll want to ask a question, they'll ask me in confidence, and I'll ask the question for them, because it's just like sure, like, I don't care, like, get the ego out. It's good to let people know that you don't know everything. At least that's how I've been. I tell people I know nothing, and so far my life has been quite okay with me not knowing anything. All right, let me close this before I get too distracted. All right, so we have testing. Did I delete that? Wait a minute. I had a testing stuff somewhere. Where did I go? Oh, here we are. So I can delete testing now. And I think what I need to do is figure out which one of these really needs to stay. So troubleshooting, if running into issues, CR, okay, whatever. Running an example project. For your convenience, we create an example project based on whatever this is. Okay. All right. Opinion time. How many callouts should you have? Should you ever have consecutive callouts? The reason why I ask this is because I do subscribe to this belief that if you call out everything, then nothing's important. Right? So, like, let's say, for instance, I have 4 callouts and they're all, consecutive, like placed like right next to each other. At what point does it become more of a distraction and something that you ignore? It's something that I struggle with, because I believe that callouts should be sparse in general, and I take that from like all of the books that I've read in my life, where it's not often where we're calling out everything. But it's also like, I guess when people are like sorry all the time, they say sorry to everything, and it's just like, all right, well, if you say sorry to everything, that literally diminishes the meaning. I'm that person where if you tell me sorry all the time, it's like yeah, it's like, no, you're not, just talking shit at this point. All right. I'm just gonna copy them both. I don't really know what else to do, and I can't because I'm using README, so I had to go into Markdown mode, which they call raw mode, which is, that's dumb, but hey, it's not my product. So we'll come in here, and we'll just do that and move this to testing for now. I'm gonna probably delete this. I don't like it, to be honest. Troubleshooting. Wait, I thought I just. Oh, why are there 2? Why are these duplicated? This is weird. All right, manually updating. All right, cool. All right, set custom properties. Technically this isn't, okay, so we'll just do this. We'll say that, and this is going to be a header 2 now, and I'm going to put that under my recommended section, which is here. And we'll put that right here. All right, and your JS app, I don't think I need any of this anymore. All right. Manually updating iOS native SDK. I don't know what to do with this, so I'm just going to make it an H1 for now, just so that I know that I need to do something with it. So after initialization, OneSignal will automatically collect. Okay, use the following methods to set your own custom user IDs. Oh, wait a minute, we don't need this. This is gone. Yeah, we don't need that anymore. All right, cool. So we'll go back and refresh just to see what this is looking like. All right. We're getting close to what the structure is supposed to look like. Do you use ChatGPT for some of your code? Well, yes and no. For your bar question, no. I've never actually copied code from GPT and used it because I read it and I'm like, this is wrong. I do have GitHub Copilot, but here, I can actually show you if I bring it up. It's actually disabled. I've been paying for this. Well, I used to get it for free for reasons, but I have been paying for Copilot and I turn it off because it's mostly a distraction to me. So you see here, enable globally. I have it off. I'm not saying that it's not useful, but it's more of a distraction for me. And it sometimes gives you wrong code. And yeah. So what I use it more for now is more for like, here, I can show you actually. Let's see. Wait a minute. Can I show you? Oh wait, I'm not in the right. Okay, I'm not in the right workspace. Oh shit, my bad. Oh fuck. Sorry, I didn't realize that. Okay, so let's go to here. Oh wait, no, this isn't it. Wait a minute. Is it new chat? No. Oh, here we are. This is it. Okay, so here. All right. So it's stuff like this when it's just like I don't want to go and really get into the weeds of the docs of something. So I'll do a cursory read of docs, aka I'll go and look at the TLC. I'll read, and maybe you do this from academia, like you read the first sentence or two of every paragraph and you read the last sentence and you read all of the headers, you look for all numbers, you look for anything that's underlined, you look for anything that's bold, and you like expand out. This is how I read docs, by the way. It's similar to how I do research back when I was in school, where it's like, the person who wrote the information, they communicate to you in different ways of what's important. Stuff like emphasis, things like italics, underlines, numbers are typically important, dates are typically important. The main idea is typically in the first 1 to 2 sentences of a paragraph. You can also get a little bit of context from the last sentence of a paragraph. If there's any figures, or tables, that kind of thing, you read the tables and all that kind of stuff. So that's for me what a cursory read is, which maybe that's not a cursory read to you, but for me it is. I also like to look at the types. I think in types. I do something called I don't know what it's called, but it's almost like you do development just by thinking through the types. So I'll do that, and then I'll come into whatever this is, ChatGPT, and I'll be like, all right, give me a high level plan. And then, for instance, it gave me this code right here. And when I was reading this, I was like, all right, first of all, I would never write this because first we're doing this callback business, and I'm not a fan of callbacks in a world where we have async await, right? It's like the Promise API is not bad, and there are actually these really amazing libraries that work really well with promises, right? So it's like, why do I want to go jump back into callback time? But for what it's worth, I was doing callbacks when I first learned the program over 20 years ago, right? That's how you do things in C, and it's just to me this is dumb. So it gave me this code, I read it, and I was just like, all right, first of all, this is poorly written, at least in my opinion. This is poorly written code. But yeah, it's still poorly written. I'm looking at it now. It's actually quite trash. But then I was like, all right, no, I don't want to do this. I'm like, give it to me using async await, but also using the effect library, which I thought I put it in here. Where is effect? Yeah, here. So you see here, effect TS core effect. So I was like, all right, use await and use effect, right? And it gives me this right here. And when I look at this, I'm not this is still code that I wouldn't, I don't like it. I'm gonna just say that. First of all, there's some things here that I think don't need to be here. For instance, channel.length = 0. If I would have written this, I would just say not channel.length. Here's why. You may disagree, but if you are a expert JavaScript developer, you are very intimately familiar with falsiness and truthiness in JavaScript. Well, it turns out a number like 0 is falsy. So that means that you can save yourself the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 keystrokes and just put the bang operator here. So I guess technically you're only saving 5 keystrokes. And to anyone who knows what they're doing, that will be immediately obvious that, you know, that this is, if there's no data in there, then do this thing here. I'm also not really a fan of like this right here. I like to have curly braces just for consistency, even if it's just a return. Like this right here is a guard statement. Well, it's a guard. It's not really a guard statement. I want to be clear here in case there are people who are watching this and they're pedantic. Here we're using generator functions, and I'm like, all right, cool. Generator functions are nice and all, but I wouldn't use generator functions unless I absolutely had to, because most people don't understand this, right? Like, sure, I understand what yield is doing and all this kind of stuff, but I also have to think about others, right? Where it's like, if I can do something in a way where 80% of the people are going to understand it, I'm going to do it that way, even though it may be more elegant to do it some other way. Elegant, in quotes, air quotes. But yeah, so here's some code that I pulled in, and to answer your question, I would not just straight up copy and paste this and deploy it. Like I would literally review it like I do code review for actual engineers, and it'll be a line by line, and I'll probably be more harsh because this is coming from a tool, right? Than I would be from like to a developer, to like a regular person, because people have feelings. So it's like I'll be a little bit more forgiving. But I'm looking at this and I'm just like, yeah, nah, I don't like the way this is written. But yeah, hopefully that gives you an answer. It's a yes-ish, a yes but not really, I guess. All right, we go back to my other session here, and we got to figure out what to do with this manually updating iOS OneSignal native SDK. And then I can say I've done one thing today. Oh shit! Did I go to? All right, so I guess y'all have seen that. I normally go to Monterey Car Week every year, and this is the first year that I decided not to go. And I had a good reason. I was supposed to go to Athens, and then, man, I shouldn't even admit this. I'm not like, I don't really plan travel. I just buy a ticket. I'm like, I'm going somewhere. Last minute, I was like, all right, I need to figure out like what kind of stuff I need to pack, and I decided to look at the weather, and I saw 104 degrees. I was just like, no. So I canceled the ticket right away. I'm like, I'm not fucking going there. 104 degrees. I'm like, I could stay at home and be in 104 degrees. So I guess I should respond and be like, no, I'm not going. I didn't go. Also, like, I'm not really into cars as much as I used to be. If you're new to this, if like, I imagine you've never, I used to be a very big car person. Like, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some of the cars that I'm on, and you'll understand. I had a moment after my ayahuasca journey where like some entity was like, basically it told me I had to get rid of all of my cars. At that time I didn't understand it, but I did it anyways. And now, like, fast forward over a year and a half later, almost 2 years, like, I was actually a couple weeks ago, like, I don't know, I just had an epiphany, and I was like, okay, I understand now why I had to get rid of my cars. And I'm gonna be real, part of it is this: if I still had my cars, I wouldn't be doing the stream. I would be, either at the track or out in the hill country, or probably at Monterey Car Week or some other country doing car stuff, not focusing on building the thing that I claimed that I wanted to build, that I wasn't building because I was too fixated on cars and doing car stuff. But yeah, I guess that's the kind of stuff that you gain after a little bit of maturity, I suppose. All right, I don't know, this feels wrong. There has to be more than just initialization. Or maybe there doesn't. Maybe I'm just making this more complicated than it has to be. I'm making it more complicated than it has to be. Technically, there are just 3 steps. It's just iOS is just ridiculously complicated. Yeah, all right, cool. There are only 3 steps: add the SDK, initialization, and then testing. Except you are going to go to the specific platform that you care about. So what I think I want to do is I want to make this into a section. Actually, I'm going to leave it as a header. Even though I kind of want it as a section, I'm going to leave it as a header. And yeah, now I just got to figure out what to do with this so I can call this done. So when you install React Native OneSignal, it will automatically include a specific version of OneSignal iOS native SDK that's known to work with it. Only follow instructions below if there is a native OneSignal SDK fix you need that isn't included already. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, I see. This doesn't need to be in my steps, in my setup. This is something else. I'm going to add a new section. This is a section that I was asking my team, and we have a meeting tomorrow to go over this, but I'm going to preemptively add it. So I'm going to have a new section called Advanced. And that's going to live under Advanced. So come here, and we'll just do Advanced. And then this is going to be H2. And then this is manually updating iOS SDK. Native SDK. Native iOS SDK. And this should be title cased. All right. Manually updating native. All right, cool. I'm not going to change this content because remember, that's not the goal. So let's see. Is this better? No, it's not. If I need to learn how to spell advanced with a C. No, I still didn't spell it right. Advanced. Yeah, I think that's how you spell advanced. All right. All right, so here we are. Here's a, let's do a before and after. So we'll get this away. Let's do this. We'll do documentation, whatever. And we'll just have to find it because it'll be a little bit easier. This is React Native. Okay, so on the left is the new one, and on the right is the old one. Oops, let me not zoom in all the way like that. All right, so yeah. Focus on the table of contents first. I don't know why it's on the right. Like, oh my gosh, to me that doesn't make sense, because I read, like, I imagine if you're from the West, or if you're like from most countries, chances are you read left to right. And it makes a lot of sense that if you read left to right, chances are you want your table of contents to appear on the left side, because it's just, I don't know, it follows the way that I would expect, people to, it's an informational hierarchy, I think, right? If you're looking for content in a page, which I think that's what most people are doing in a doc, the first thing that they probably want to know is what's here. And sure, you could be like, oh, they could come here and scroll, but like, I think that's a poor way of figuring out what's there, especially when you have someone like myself who's just put in effort to build out this structure to make it easier for people. And the fact that it's on the right annoys me. Like, I won't say how much it annoys me, but it annoys me. And I only won't say it because I'm technically working. So, but if this was my after hours stream, I would say how I really feel about that. But yeah, in any case, we have the requirements set up, recommended in advance. Right. So now this, I think it's a much clearer, I guess, structure of what's on this document versus over here where it's just like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6, step 7, step 8. And oh, by the way, 4 of these steps aren't even steps, they're all optional. And like one of the steps isn't even a step, it's just informational. Yes, I am from America. I'm from Houston, Texas, born and raised. But I have spent some time international, like living outside the country. And I'm going to say I am a rare American. I've been to over 50 countries now in my life. I'm going to say most Americans don't really get out. Like I would imagine most Americans haven't filled up 2 passports. Like just like you have to buy a new passport. It's like, oh, I'm full, so I gotta go get a new passport, like that. So I do think about people in other countries because I've learned that they exist, and I'm saying that facetiously. I know that they exist, but it's just like, yeah, unfortunately, you don't think about the things that you don't see. So I've been to places where they don't have the same infrastructure that we have. And a lot of these American sites, which they claim to be the best, hire the best engineers in the world, they don't work outside of America. And because, the people who are building it, because they don't live outside of the country, and like they don't really care that it doesn't work outside of the country. But I care deeply because I was trying to use these things because I'm still kind of tech related. So when I'm out, I was trying to use stuff and I couldn't use it. And it became infuriating. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, why don't people care? And yeah, I've come to the conclusion that people don't care about the things that they don't see or that they don't experience. Yes, you can call me well-traveled. I'm definitely, yeah. I have a goal to hit all 196 countries. I don't know if that's going to happen. Last year, like I wanted to go to North Korea. I was in South Korea, and I had intended to go to North Korea, but it was closed due to COVID. And now there's other issues preventing me. So like I could go because like they allow people like me to go to North Korea. So I was just gonna go just to go because no one's been there. My Antarctica trip was canceled due to COVID, so I don't know when I'm gonna resume that one. Yeah, I like going to places that most people don't go to, but I've also been to places that a lot of people go to. Well, yeah, I mean, someone has to care, right? Like at the end of the day, like, you could be the person that only cares about a limited, finite thing, but if you're the one person, I'm not saying I'm just one person, but I know there are others, but if you're one of the few people who care about some other thing that most people don't care about, like, you get so much love just for that. Like, just for understanding. It's like, oh yeah, you're one of those people and you understand the problems that we have to go through. And it's like, yeah, I get it. I definitely get it. Like, for instance, let's say you are in America. You're probably used to, you go into a room, you flip a light switch and the lights turn on. There are a lot of places where that doesn't happen. Or let's say you're used to going to a faucet and you turn on the tap and water comes out. Well, turns out I've been to a lot of places where there is no running water. There is no like electricity. If you want to take a shower, well, there's a bucket. You walk your ass down to the well. You get some water, you carry it with you, and that's what you're going to use to wash yourself. And it's cold. I've taken I call them wash-offs. The most interesting one was when I was in the Maasai, like where the Maasai people live. I was yeah, that was interesting. At night it was kind of scary. You just like, it's loud, you hear baboons and like all kinds of animals of the night. You're just like, oh my gosh, like if I go out there I will die. Things will get me. A life coach, I don't know if I can be a life coach. Just hang out with the stream. I don't want to tell people to follow my thing. I grew up very different, where it's like I understand that a lot of the things that I have I don't need, so I'm okay if I lose everything. Some people aren't, right? So so it's like, you listen to me, you like, unless you're okay and you're prepared to be homeless, you probably don't want to listen to me. I'm that person where it's like, I understand that I'll be all right, because I've been those things before, and it's just like, yeah, if I go back, it's fine. I'm not saying that I'm anywhere near that, but that's my mindset is very different from your average person. So if you don't have that same mindset of like, I'm going to do what I want to do regardless, then you shouldn't listen to me. You definitely don't want to listen to me if that's not your mindset. But I've always been this way. In fact, you can call it a flaw, a personal flaw, but it's probably also like one of my greatest strengths. Is that, I'm going to do me regardless. All right, let me go ahead and mark this as done. I think, before I mark it as done, I need to copy the new URL and put this in for review. And I guess the person who's going to be review it is me, actually. So we're going to put this in review, and doc is here, and we'll just say do that. Wait, improve content. Wait, no, that's false. No, that's the wrong thing. What the hell? This is React Native, my bad. I'm tripping. So let's put this back to here. Technically web is planning because I've already done this stuff really. So we're gonna put that here. All right, status review. I'll mark that as done. All right, look at that. An accomplishment for once in my life. I've done something useful. We'll come into my notes. Or this is my task list for the week, and it like moves. And what I mean by that is like it's going to grow and shrink. Oh, this is done. I'm done with that. Review, community, add additional info, customer, nope. Report. Oh, I need to do that at some point. Schedule, I need to do that too. All right, well, all right. I suppose I can go through common room now. Actually, no, I won't go through common room. I think that's internal. I don't want to do that. Add in additional info on how existing customers can migrate to user model. Okay. All right, so this is more documentation stuff I guess. So we're gonna close this and oh, by the way, Imogen Longton, if you want to chat, what I would recommend you do is go to my YouTube channel. Hold on, actually, never mind. I don't even know. I had to go and check. So I think if you come to my YouTube channel, oh wait, account? Man, you're starting to see, I don't even know how to use YouTube. How do you do, oh, my channel. All right, so if you go to my channel and you go to about, you'll see here that I have a link tree. If you click on link tree, I have a thing for coffee chat. Feel free, just come here. It's 15 minutes or what? I think it's 15 minutes. Oh, I might be lying to you. Yeah, it's 15 minutes, yeah. So it's like, this is part of me giving back to others, community, right? So like, feel free. You can come in here and schedule something, and yeah. For what it's worth, if I can't make it at that time, I would actually just propose a new time. So just propose a time that works for you. Don't worry about like, oh, does it work for me? Just propose a time that works for you. Chances are like I can make it. I try to make time for everything. In my mind, there are 24 hours in a day, and I can move stuff around to fit things. Anyways, let's go back to here, and we want to go to the migration guide for the user model. Shipped and updated and updated with our latest just in case. Please follow up. Okay. All right, so there's the they wanted me to start to get more into limitations, which is here. So the user, okay, so let's see. I think I captured some of the notes, I think. All right, let's move this to OneSignal. So we want guidance for common issues, the EUID cardinality, data tag mismatches, guidance for how customers can migrate and what their typical setup is. Okay. Let's see. How can we help inform support existing customers to migrate their SDKs, APIs in the right sequencing? Documentation overview, migration sequencing guide, FAQ, handling subscription transfers for not using EIDs. Okay. All right. So this is going to require planning. Like I need to think through this because no, there's one thing to just say, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, but now I'm asking myself this question of, is this even the right place to put it? Right, like I have this limitations here, and it's currently a subheader, but it may be worth having this as a top level header and digging into these. And if some of this stuff is complicated and I'm proposing solutions or workarounds, then this begs the question of, do I do this all in one document and make this really, really long? It's simpler that way. Or do I break this apart into separate documents where I'm probably gonna do separate documents, because some of these things are not straightforward. Yeah, some of these things are not straightforward at all. Mainly because the solution kind of depends on how something is implemented. So I'm gonna have to enumerate all of the, or not all, but some of the most common implementations that people are likely to have for how they've implemented this. Plus there's these PRDs, and these are internal, so I can't share that. I don't know, well, no one told me I can't, but I'm telling y'all that I don't think I can share that. Keep in mind that this is actual work, so this is real work. So I do have to keep that in mind. I can't just share everything. All right, now I have this potential bug. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and report that right quick, or ask in our SDK channel. SDK. And this may be feedback that I need to report, and I have my own repo for that. So if this turns out to be like something that I need to report, then I'll do that on stream. SDK platform. All right. So I was building a sample app last night. It ran into an issue with the website SDK. I was able to, load the SDK script or files just fine. It's fine. However, installing the SDK fails. So I do have a suspicion as to why this is failing. Here, how about I do this? Let me open up another browser right quick. Let's open up Firefox, and we're going to go to whatever this website is. I've already forgotten it. It's HTTPS code and color .github.io/ oh, here we are. That. Okay. So at some point I should get like the web prompt. Oh, let me turn off ghostery. Let's pause ghostery. Or let's just trust the site. Give it all the trust. All right. So when I subscribe and I allow, I get this right here. Installing the service worker failed. All right, so here's what I'm over here typing over here on the side. I was going to say that the reason why I think that this is failing is that when you look at this GET request, it's trying to get this OneSignal SDK.sw.js. That doesn't exist. Like, that's not a file that exists. And let's go to the repo so I can show that. So that's GitHub, code and color. What's the name of this? OneSignal website SDK sample. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, all right, tripping. I'm gonna do this in my other browser over here. We'll go into my other thing. All right, here we are. So if we look here, I thought I deleted this change. Let me fix that. I thought I re-updated this. So I changed the name just to see if that would cause, like, if it would find the file, and no, it didn't. So let me go ahead and commit that to, we'll just say this patch right here. Of course, and it's not happy because it's a file name change, so I had to create the PR manually. All right, let's make sure that the file is indeed renamed. Yes, it is. So I'll go ahead and merge that. And all right, so we see here that this is called OneSignal SDK worker.js, which is what it's supposed to be called. I changed it to .swjs just to see if that would make a difference with that bug. So we'll come back here, we'll close that, and we'll refresh. And you'll see here, I get the same thing, right? So Now it's saying the registration of the service worker failed, but it's still this get request right here. So let's actually inspect that. You'll see here that this URL is like, this just doesn't exist. So I think I know what the issue is. It's just I need to find out if it's something that I'm missing. Like, is there a link? You know what? Before I do that, let me see. I can figure that out before I ask this question. So we'll go back into here and we'll go into here, OneSignal. We're looking for the website SDK. All right, and then there's the migration guide. Yep, right there. And let's do here. Look at that. All right, so there's this, open your whatever this is and update the following line from whatever that is to whatever this is. So let's see if that's actually the case. Let's go back over into Firefox and wait. I think this is it right here. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot. Okay, I need to do it over here. I'm like, wait a minute, how come that doesn't work? Oh, okay, I guess I need to go back to here. So we'll OneSignal code and color. Here we are. So let's see what's inside of this. It should be, yeah, all right, cool. So let's confirm that this is what this says. So we'll move this to here, side by side. And it's saying that it wants to have this code, which I think that's what I have, but maybe I don't because I see, no, that's the same. SDKs, web, v16. And let's confirm that this does indeed exist. So, yeah, it does indeed exist. So this is the JavaScript, the HD, whatever you want to call it. This is the file. So that's correct. Okay. So there seems to only be like one service worker thing. And let me also confirm that this HTML file is indeed correct. So this is index.html. CDN, OneSignal, SDKs, web v16, OneSignal SDK .page.js. Huh, okay. Interesting. All right, let me see if this exists. And if it does exist, this is even more confusing. Why? Like, what's the difference between SW and .page? Okay, that exists. Does SW exist? It does exist. I think that's what we just saw. All right, let's try changing this to SW. Maybe this will solve my issue. And if this does solve my issue, then this is a product feedback issue. Our docs are wrong, and we need to update the code snippet in our what do you call that thing? In our product. So let me go ahead and change this to SW, which is what we have right here. Oh wait, no, never mind. No, that should be page. Okay, never mind. I was about to say, yeah, that we need to go and like update our product because this is the snippet that we show in the product, but that is the right thing. OneSignal.page.js. Okay, we're good. All right, the service worker does have the SWJS, so that's done. Yeah, so honestly, like this is all the same. Yeah, I don't really know. So I guess I'm going to go back to asking this question. I was able to load. I can load the SDK files just fine. However, installing the SDK files. Here's the demo site here. Oh, that's not the demo site. Where's the demo site at? All right, so we'll put that in there. Okay, so I need to go back to my notes and mark this as something that I'm currently in the middle of doing. And the way I do that now is I'll just select the text that I'm doing and I'll mark it as green. just as a note to myself that this is something that I'm currently, I'm working on. This red means that it's something that I'm blocked by. I'm waiting on this to process, I think. Block this. Okay. This will be processed Friday morning. So that's when I can do this. All right. All right. I need to do that, and I still need to do that. This is something I'm probably going to put off until tomorrow, maybe, and create the stream. All right. I guess I can do this now, I suppose. Let's close Figma. By the way, if any of you who are watching and y'all are like, like, if you have ideas of like, not ideas, but if you have YouTubers who you like who do shorts, who I can basically steal from, please share, because I am trying to create this short of a stream that I did. I have 6 of them that I had to create, and while I've already done getting the content part and like the background, like I need to figure out like a good layout, and I want to make it a template. So what I'll do is I'll end up doing it here, and I can create like a template here in Final Cut, so I never have to do it again. So if you know some people who I should steal from, please let me know. To be fair, I don't really watch YouTube Shorts, so it's hard for me to know, but maybe that's a good thing, right? Maybe that could be a good thing. Anyways, I'm in at 2 hours, and I made a promise to myself that I'm going to try to not do very long streams anymore. I've done 8-hour streams, right? So it F's up my retention here on YouTube. So I'm trying to keep streams at around 2 hours these days. So because I'm over 2 hours already, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. If you have any questions, you can drop it in the comments now. But I appreciate you all who've joined so far. If you enjoy what you heard, please give me a like, a thumbs up. It does help on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, I don't know, can you even like things on Twitch? If you can't, just follow me. Or if not, actually, I would prefer you go to YouTube and subscribe there. In any case, have a good rest of the day, y'all, and appreciate you all hanging out with me. Peace.